I asked if I could opt out of the speech now. It's kind of hard to follow everybody up like that. Well, here we go. Good morning, sisters and brothers. I'm really honored and excited to address you today. Been asked to take a few minutes and talk about my journey in the heat and frost insulators in the building trades. I've been proud to be a member of my union for 44 years. That is a long time, but I will try not to bore you by droning on, and y'all know I can. I began my probationary period in 1979 with the insulators in Local 1 in St. Louis. I had applied several months before I received a call to begin my apprenticeship. I pretty much figured they forgot about me. They may have, but the U.S. government did not. They had this little thing called affirmative action, and it came to roost on the doorstep of my future employer. How I ended up in that union hall that day is a story in and of itself, but I did. I went because I needed a job. I had spent several months prior to that working on permit with the elevator workers. Where are you? That job dried up because of lack of work. What I did discover was I wanted a career in the trades. A career, not a job, but something where I learned each and every day and it provided new challenges. It was a bit intimidating as there were not any other women on the job sites then. I'm sure it has changed a bit. Look at all of you. But most of you have experienced the one and only phenomenon. You're like a novelty. With every task you undertake, it seems like everyone stops what they are doing to watch the show. I remember the first time I drove a lift on site. I was not nervous about operating the lift, but nervous because of all the eyes on me. This career led me down a path I could never imagine. It provided me with health insurance, a pension, and a very good wage, not to mention other benefits that were trade-specific. When you are young and starting out, you do not pay attention to anything but the wage, right? Retirement seems so far away. Believe me when I tell you, it goes by in the blink of an eye. The challenges were real back then. There were no support systems or people to talk to about things that occurred on the job that were, let's just say, inappropriate or just plain out of line. My fallback, and the only reason I stayed some days, was the wage. I would remind myself, I was a different kind of feminist than the feminists of my generation. I had a job with no glass ceiling. I was a member of a union and enjoyed the benefit of a collectively bargained contract. It did have a corporate ladder that I would have loved to have climbed, but at that time, there was not necessarily a path to leadership for women within their local unions. I chose another path that ran parallel with my career, elected office. I spent 10 years representing the community on a fire board. From there, I ran for the Missouri House, and I won. With 82% of the vote. Even that had some challenges. You see, my community was very labor dense. The labor leaders at the time thought it would be best to run a man from another trade. I know, right? I persisted, and eventually they supported me. From there, I ran for the Missouri State Senate. I spent 16 years in the Missouri House, 4 of those as a minority leader in the Senate. While in the Senate, I ran and was elected to the presidency of the Missouri State Building Trades Council. There I was, no longer the one and only. My OPCMIA sister, Elise Martini, was now president of the Kansas City Building Trades. I finally had someone that was a sister to seek advice from. After serving in an elected office for more than 25 years, I now work for my international union. I do not tell you these things to boast, but to express how important it is we as women participate in our unions and our communities. When union members run for political office or for an office in their union, they have one job, and that is to work for and protect working families and the protections a union card provides. My state, like many others, has been under attack for nearly 20 years with the threat of right to work and the elimination of the prevailing wage. If there is no elected person who is a member of the building trades, it's very difficult to protect what we hold near and dear. I cannot express how important it is to exercise our right to vote. Not much is free these days, but voting still is. I have seen many changes. When I began my career, hard hats, safety harnesses, they were all optional. Toolbox talks and safety meetings were coffee clutches. Today, these things are industry norm that save lives and make our jobs easier and safer. Today, through the work of NAB2's Women Committee, there are child care pilot programs, women's committees started in several cities across the United States. One of the biggest changes I have seen in the building trades is the spark of excitement ignited by NAB2 in TWBN. Through their programs and workshops, sisters all over the country have been energized. They are running for office within their locals and winning. In my trade alone, we now have a sister that's a business manager, sisters that are business agents, officers, executive board members, trustees, organizers, and the list goes on and on. My international now has more women on staff than ever before. I am so proud to have been a part of these changes, and I am so proud of the Heat and Frost Insulators, Local Number 1, and the support they provide for their members. Most internationals now have maternity benefits for their members, and along with their locals, provide their members and their families with much needed support through member assistance programs. Now we have a woman, our sister, Liz Schuler, as the president of the largest federation of unions. And possibly, and I hope soon to be, a reality of a woman as president of the United States. These are changes I would never have dreamt about, even considered 44 years ago. I leave you with this. With leadership comes great responsibility. It is hard but fulfilling work. We all stand on someone's shoulders. In my case, I stand on the shoulders of the brothers in this industry that realize the potential and value of their sisters can bring to the building trades. Each one of you have the potential to be leaders and change makers. We do this by supporting each other and bringing a sister along on our journey. And one more thing, remember to vote. Support those who support our union principles and working families. Thank you for attendance at this conference. Now go and be the change makers that I know you are. Thank you. Thanks, you guys.